is on rotating on the X, Y, and Z axis independently, as well as adding a light to a 2.5D scene. So in the bumpers we watched in class, I'm going to hit the R key to get rotate. Now you've got X, Y, and Z. The X axis will make this flip up or down. So like that, depending upon, as we talked about before, where you have your anchor point. I'm going to move my anchor with the pan behind anchor tool up at the top, and I'm going to put this at the bottom, because that's where I want it, the bottom middle. I'm going to hold down, oops, undo that. I'm going to constrain the proportions. I believe it's the command key on a Mac to snap it right to that point. So now when I rotate on the X, so you can have things flip up or down. That's very useful for bumpers, as you saw in class, plus you have the links to it on the slides. I'm going to change this setting back to 0. So that's an example of making something flip up or down. Another one of the bumpers had the photo twirl on its sides, so I'll use the square for that. That will be the y-axis. So x-axis is side to side, y is up and down, z is back and forth from the camera. So for this y rotation, we're going to hide u. It's the square we're going to do, so I hit the R key. I'm going to want, if I keep it in the center, it will flip around, but I'm just going to try something different, and I'm going to put it on this edge right here so that it swings around that way. So when I do the Y, it's more like a door opening or closing, but you still get the same effect based upon where you want it. And as I said before, if I want to do one full circle, I'll do it on this side of the keyframe, and obviously we'll go there, there. I'm going to change this first one to a 0, so it's going from 0 to 1 full circle. So that's swinging around like such. You will keyframe your X to be 90. Now we'll want to flip up this way. So you want nice and flat, like that. And we'll go about 1 second in. And we'll make it 0 here. So now it'll flip up while the other one's twirling around. And since you have your blending modes on, when they intersect, you get some stuff there. And then last but not least, the circle is absolutely the worst thing to demonstrate Z rotate on. So I'm going to go layer new, shape layer. Because it's round, you're not going to see much change. And I'll do polystar. And I'll make it 3D just because you can't see it. There we go. I'll scale it up. And I forgot to add a fill because it's early in the morning. There we go. Polystar. Now when I rotate this on the z-axis, I'm going to press R. I'll have it start rotating about here. Okay. This one will change sideways. That. See, it's spinning on that side. So you can see the 3 different axes. X will make it flip up. Y will make it swing around from side to side like a door. And Z-axis will turn it almost like you're turning a doorknob. So that's X, Y, and Z axis in a nutshell. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and now we'll go over adding a light to your scene. I'm going to go back to my camera, pressing the C key, and I want to zoom out of this scene because everything's way too big. So I'm just zooming out by scrolling down, and I'm going to push everything down in my camera view this way, just so you can see what's going to happen. Okay, now to add a light to the scene, you go layer, new, light. You can add as many lights as you want. The more lights you have, the more interest you can create, but it'll also slow down your render. To make everything pretty noticeable, I'll make it white just so that you can see the difference, because we have so much color going on here. Intensity is how bright it's going to be. Cone angle, I'll show you when I animate that. Well, I won't animate, but I'll show you the difference. Cone feather, if it's going to create hard or soft light. Radius, how round or big the light's going to be. You can change all these once you place your light. The different lights are spotlight, parallel, point, and ambient. I'm going to do a spotlight for this example, and we'll go into each one more for actual 3D. But as you can see, when I move it closer or further, it's going to affect how it is. I'm going to press the U key to hide all my keyframes. Light options is where you'll change the strength and things of that nature, but I'm going to go to transform. Spotlights have a point of interest, what they're pointing at, which you can animate what they're pointing at, as well as their orientation and position in the scene. So I'm going to just move this. See, I can swing it around like it's on a camera, or you could move the point of interest however you want, as well as change your X, Y, and Z rotation. So my light options, I'm going to change the intensity, obviously make it brighter so we can see everything a little bit better. Cone feather, you're seeing how the shape, cone angle, you're seeing how tight or far apart it's going to be. Cone feather. Radius, if you want a bigger or smaller amount of light. Fall off distance, how far the light's going to be going, if it's casting shadows or not, how dark the shadows are going to be, and if you want to diffuse those shadows, like make them softer. Say I wanted to make it 300 pixel diffusion. So now when I animate in my scene, you'll see how as I move further away and closer, how it's going to change the way the light interacts with it. I did light in my parallax animation, which I will demonstrate in one of the other tutorials for this week.